Hi, I'm Hub Arkush, along with our senior editor, Eric Edholm, here with more of our exclusive Pro Football Weekly Way We Hear It. And Eric, one of the clubs on your beat, the regular beat, that is the Washington Redskins, as active as anybody in the NFL, both in the trade market, including the trade for the second overall pick in the draft, which we believe will be Robert Griffin III, and then quickly signing a couple of wide receivers, Pierre, Garcon, and Josh Morgan. And it seems to me, Eric, badly overpaying for both of them. What's the buzz in Washington?
Yeah, the buzz is obviously they want to give RG3 as much receiver help as possible. You know, wide receiver was a sore spot on the team last year. You had guys like Jabbar Gaffney and Santana Moss producing at just okay levels. They want to be able to stretch the field. I think both guys can help him do that, but as you said, $21 million guaranteed for Pierre Garcon, a guy with a lot of talent, but also some things he's got to clean up in his game, his route running, his consistency with his hands. And Josh Morgan, a guy who was injured last year, so there is some considerable risk taken on here.
Well, and everybody's always going to ask the question. We've heard the last couple of years since Mike Shanahan got there that Dan Snyder's done a better job of stepping back. Yeah. But when you hear these wild signings, you wonder, is the boss involved again?
Yeah, and I think there's just this pressure to perform in Mike Shanahan's third season of the team. You know, haven't really produced great results so far. Shanahan, Bruce Allen, like you said, have talked a good game, but have to make some moves to catch up with the Giants and the Eagles and the other teams in the division.
You know, covering the NFC East, you've also got the Dallas Cowboys. This one caught me by surprise. I thought Kyle Orton wanted to go somewhere and be a starter. He has signed on to be the backup to Tony Romo, and yet you know, with a guy like Orton, if things go wrong with Romo, there's going to be some buzz in Dallas. So tell us about this signing.
Yeah, it's a 3-year contract. It was Tuesday night. I was in Baltimore for the Ed Block Courage Awards. I actually asked Tony what he would think about bringing Kyle Orton on. He said it's great. He said I've loved having John Kitten as my backup, and they've needed him. I mean, they've had the injuries to the rib. They had the clavicle injury 2 years ago. So Tony's been in and out of the lineup for different things, and having a guy with some starting experience is key.
Calvin Johnson, the Detroit Lions, is clearly one of the two best receivers in the NFL, along with Andre Johnson in Houston. But Eric, $60 million guaranteed, almost 3 times as much as the next Tier 1 wide receiver in the NFL. 8-year deal. They get to spread it against the cap that way. But still, that's a ton of money for a wide receiver.
A wide receiver, a guy who's a position that's dependent on the play of another position. Now, obviously, Matthew Stafford stepped up with a terrific season, but he was injury-prone his first 2 years. As big a weapon as Calvin Johnson is, as important he was to getting them back in the playoffs for the first time since '99, it is still a concern. He's a guy that may only touch the ball 3 or 4 times in certain games. So, difference maker, yes. League's most expensive contract, maybe you question that a little bit.
Well, what's really puzzling about it is it comes on the heels of them losing cornerback Eric Wright to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're not in cap trouble, but they're not exactly flush with cash either, and they've got to improve the back 7 on defense. So far, it's gotten worse. Where do they go from here?
Got to improve the offensive line, too, and they still have to re-sign Stephen Tulloch, their middle linebacker. So they're down to 3 cornerbacks right now, and that's the biggest concern. Alfonso Smith is one of them. He might be on the trade block. So clearly they're not able to enter the Brandon Carr sweepstakes. Cortland Finnegan's a Ram, so the top-tier free agent cornerbacks are gone, right among them now at the door. They got to draft at this position, and they probably have to go on the cheaper end of free agency, too.
Well, folks, we are very happy for the Calvin Johnson family. Just a little puzzled as to what the master plan is in Detroit. For all of that and more, stay right here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as we bring you more Way We Hear It on ProFootballWeekly.com.